Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event this weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Verragio, the world's premier designers, are showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Come join us and take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. This Friday through Sunday, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
When Smashville wants to rock. We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Honest hockey talk and opinions. This is Penalty Box Radio, live with Alex Doherty and Sean Smith on Smashville's Best Sports Talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hello and welcome to Penalty Box Radio Live, presented by Salas Realty Group. Salas Realty Group, your premier destination for Nashville, Tennessee real estate. Also brought to you by the Nashville Spartans, Nashville's one and only junior hockey team based out of Nolensville. I am your host, Alex Doherty. Joining me on this journey is Sean Smith. Sean, what's up?
Ready to talk hockey. Alex.
All right. This is the reincarnation of Penalty Box Radio Live. This is something that has been in the works for a very long time. Between Sean and I, Justin Bradford was a huge part of this show for so many years. But this show will be in many ways the same as the original Penalty Box Radio that Justin Bradford started 10 years ago? 11 years ago?
I think
147 years ago?
A long time.
Yeah, something like that. It will have its own flavor, of course. We are, Sean and I are different people from Justin. Not that different. I mean, Justin is has long been a hockey staple in this Nashville area. We are going to try to carry on the torch that he started, but do it in our own way. We are obviously going to focus on the Nashville Predators, the Milwaukee Admirals as well. We're going to talk about them and all the Preds prospects that are of interest. We're going to talk about more later in the show. We're going to talk a little bit more about how we got to this point, right, Sean? We're going to discuss, the journey of what Penalty Box Radio has been over the years and where it's come. But what we would like to do right now is we'd like to start every show with a puck drop, one topic to get the show going and to jump immediately into the Preds discussion. Today's puck drop, Sean, which of the Nashville Predators offseason moves will have the biggest impact on this year's team? Now, that's very specific. This year's team, the 2023-2024 squad. So a lot of offseason moves. I'm going to let you jump in here and give your take. There are a lot of offseason moves to talk about. We're going to cover as many of them as we can, but what do you think is going to be the most impactful change in the offseason that's going to impact this year's team?
Okay, Alex, I'm going to say this. Like you said, there's a lot to consider, a lot of things to talk about. But as far as impacting this year's team the most, I'm going to go with the head coaching change with Andrew Brunette coming in as the head coach. The biggest reason for that, If you look at recent history with the team and what we'll call the John Hines years, John Hines hockey was a very specific type of hockey. It was designed around the team he had. It was built to be a game focused on slowing down and wearing down the other team, with the idea being that if you did all the right things, you finished every check, you hit hard, you fought for every puck, you would wear the other team down. So by, the last 10, 15 minutes of the game coming into the third period, you had some scoring opportunities open up. That could lead to a hard-hitting game, but sometimes a kind of boring game, especially if the team was playing against a team that was quite fast. You didn't see it it wasn't as effective. So I think with Brunette coming in, it's kind of a big move away from that kind of let's grind it out style of hockey to what I'm hoping will be a faster paced, more run and gun type of offense where they're focused on getting into the zone quickly and just getting shots on the net and making things happen once they're in there.
Well, unfortunately, Sean, 5 minutes into the show and you are incorrect.
Oh.
You are wrong. That is not the answer I was looking for. You lose, and you can leave now. Okay, just kidding.
That's fine.
But personally, I think there's a lot of merit to what you say. We really don't know what the Andrew Brunette team will look like. We have some ideas. We know what they looked like, what the Florida Panthers looked like under Andrew Brunette, even though he was really running he was running a different coach's style and a different coach's system. One that really worked. Obviously, they won the President's Trophy that year. And then when he went to New Jersey, he pretty much is just, tasked with the power play and the offense, and that team was very, very good. I mean, they had the 13th best power play in the league that year. But we've never seen an Andrew Brunette from start to finish. What's his training camp going to be like? What's the systems? What are the systems he's going to run? What's the overall team philosophy going to be? What are the mental things that he's going to do with this team? How is he going to lead this team? That was a huge thing with John Hines, right? But I said you were incorrect, and the reason is because Barry Trotz is going to be the biggest influence on this team. And this year's squad and so many more years to come, he's already made just some huge changes to this roster. I mean, coming in and immediately sending Johansson to Colorado, buying out Matt Duchene, bringing in Ryan O'Reilly and Luke Shen, and some other good pieces too, Gustav Nyquist, Denis Gurianov. I think those moves are going to change the fundamental nature of this team. I think they're going to look different. They're a different squad from almost top to bottom. They have a new first line center, right? They might have a new first line winger depending on where Nyquist plays. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with the youth. I mean, we would assume that certain players are going to be there on day one, but we don't know that. So I really think it's Barry Trotz. I think Trotz will be the biggest change to this team. But I would also, so the Brunette one is just one we're gonna have to keep an eye on. I mean, do you think that there's at least some chance that Brunette's influence will go beyond just changing from Hines? I mean, it's not just about John Hines anymore. It's about like what is this team going to become over the next few years?
Well, it's interesting. I think there's a lot to be said for Trotz coming in as the general manager, and I think one of the reasons I didn't immediately say Trotz as GM is going to be the biggest influence on the team this year is because there's a lot that remains to be seen with him making draft picks and things like that. A lot of the last draft was heavily influenced by David Poile. So I think there are some things that will have to kind of play out, but one of the things I'm most interested in is how quickly is Barry Trotz, as general manager, going to pull the trigger on bringing up some of those younger players from Milwaukee. I think there was a lot of complaints out there, a lot of concern that they maybe let some of their prospect talent pool marinate a little bit too long in Milwaukee before bringing them up. And in doing so, maybe – I don't know. You look at situations that happened with Eeli Tolvanen, for example.
Who?
Eeli Tolvanen.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him? I didn't think so. But you look at situations like Eeli Tolvanen, and that was what a lot of people would say a missed opportunity. So I'm curious as I look at these guys on the training camp roster, is there a chance for some of these prospects to really jump up and make a make a case for themselves as a member of the NHL roster on day one, or even into the season as it starts, where it used to seem kind of like, well, unless there's an injury, it's going to be pretty concrete. This is how it's going to stay. As far as Brunette, the question you asked, I think, it's important to focus on the fact that this is his first full training, or his first training camp as a head coach. He did not get that in Florida. Like you said, he was running another coach's system. So it's going to take him a minute to get his footing, kind of see how he wants to run things, see the team he has. So there's definitely going to be some opportunity for him to have to figure out how he wants things to go, how he wants to set up. This is what we do meeting-wise. This is what we talk about. This is when we do these things. This is when we, things like this is when we get to the arena. This is when we practice. So he's got to get all that stuff going as well, beyond just how we play once we're on the ice. So I think it'll be really interesting to see him kind of take the reins that way for the first time. I know that was a big deal with John Hynes for a long time, was that he never really got to have a full training camp until his last season. So
a little bit later in the show, you mentioned some of the young guys that we might see. A little bit later in the show, we're going to talk very specifically about one of those that we definitely is going to be an interesting aspect of the training camp, and I think some people out there should be prepared for maybe being disappointed when it comes to the opening roster, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Just a real quick rundown of the maybe more specifics on the changes. So Ryan O'Reilly comes in. I mean, this was a stunning signing to me. I mean, I just did not see this coming. I really didn't think they were going to go get a guy like Ryan O'Reilly. I really think it's a great move. You could complain about 4-year term, but I think that in the short run, it's a great deal for $4.5 million a year for a 32-year-old who is still producing, especially at the defensive end. Ryan O'Reilly's going to come in as the number one center and just is a very, very different kind of player than Johansson, than Duchesne, specifically those two, because those are the guys that were the biggest names and the biggest money. He will come in as not only a leader, but a guy that can get it done on the penalty kill, get it done on the power play. He's just so versatile, and he's also a great guy. He already seems like a really fun kind of personality to be around. You've seen him do the tooth thing, right?
Oh yeah, that's fun.
So I think it's a great move. Now, the other moves, I'm less, sold on. I think the Luke Schenn move is just too much money for an older defenseman that doesn't have the speed that you need in this game. Not to say doesn't bring something to the game that is quality, but I don't know that Luke Schenn is the guy that is gonna transform that defense into a powerhouse again.
Well, if I recall what was being said around the time that he was brought onto the team, especially by Trotz, is that they would like Roman Josi to take less hits. They would like to see somebody out there that could kind of prevent that from happening. So
that was the narrative. Yeah,
I don't know that the whole reason he was brought in was to transform the defense into a powerhouse, as much as it was to bring someone in to keep the captain from getting concussed.
Mm-hmm. Just a couple other things. Cody Glass signs his extension. We were expecting that. $2.5 million. I think that's really good value. I was thinking more like $3 a year for him, $2.5 for each year for 2 years, and he's still an RFA at the end of it. That's great deal for the Predators. That's big. Let's see, Gurianov, less than $1 million. I don't know. We're going to talk about Dennis Gurianov. I have no idea where he fits into this lineup. That's a very interesting signing. Gustav Nyquist will be a top 6 forward, right?
I would assume so.
We don't know if he's going to play with Ryan O'Reilly, Cody Glass, Tommy Novak. Is he going to be a primarily kind of seen as a transition guy? Is he going to be a shoot for? I don't know. He's a good player. I don't know. $3.1 million for a guy like that seems a little high, but I don't have any problem with it. They needed to replace some of the scoring they lost in Duchesne and Johansson, regardless of how overpaid they were. So we'll see where they go with it. I like those signings. I'm not as high on the Luke Schenn signing, but overall a pretty good offseason in terms of the transactions log.
I think so. I think there is always that kind of question over. All right, there are these big contracts that are sitting on the books here with Duchesne and Johansson. Is something going? Are they going to do something about that? Are they going to move them out? And it was unexpected to see both of them happen, and that's why I think it was such an earth-shaking move in the offseason. But that was definitely a big contributing factor to allowing the offseason to play out the way it did.
Coming up next, we're going to have a mystery caller on the other side of the break. We have someone that many of you might like to hear from. I want you to stay tuned to find out who that mystery caller is going to be and what they have to say. I think you're going to be very interested. Before we go out, though, Nashville. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, look no further than Salas Realty Group. Salas is not just about property, they are about people. They build long-lasting relationships that are about you, your needs, and your dreams. Salas Realty Group stands for trust, transparency, and community, and they are committed to making a positive impact in Middle Tennessee, one home at a time. Visit Salas Realty Group today and experience real estate the Salas way.
Green right, box 2 run, double catch.
He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback.
Wide 85, take!
Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a 1-year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey folks, Joe Rexford here talking to you about PhD weight loss. I had a goal when I went to this program, losing 38 pounds, got down 39, then went past the 40 mark, but I'm in maintenance now, and maintenance is a fantastic plan as well. Keeping the weight off, losing the weight, no pills, no gimmicks, no other suppressants. This was a fantastic plan with a weekly coach call with my coach Rachel. You understand what is going on with your body in this process. The program is designed for you. Then it is tweaked for you. It is a plateau busting program. And if you've tried to lose weight on other programs, you know how it goes. You do it for a while, it might work, then you get sick of it, move on to something else. PhD weight loss does not give you that experience. You are going to stick with it. It's easy to stick with it, and then you're going to keep the weight off. You're going to know this is simple and easy. Again, you have a coach, and there's a guarantee. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight at the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. Join me now. You won't regret it. Visit myphdweightloss.com.
Fall is finally here, and you know what that means. The Nashville Oktoberfest in Germantown. With VIP tickets, you have all-day access to a dedicated private bar, unlimited Bavarian fare and drinks, luxury bathrooms, and a beer and whiskey tasting. It's first-class accommodations to enjoy the festival in style. Grab your Oktoberfest VIP tickets at thenashvilleoktoberfest.com. The Nashville Oktoberfest 2023, Thursday, October 5th through Sunday, October 8th at Bicentennial Mall in Germantown. Prost, y'all.
When Smashville wants to rock.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Looking to the sky to save me, looking for a sign of life, 'cause it's too cold for you here.
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
Vanderbilt football lives here.
This Saturday, it's Vanderbilt and Kentucky from First Bank Stadium. Coverage starts at 9:30 a.m. Kickoff at 11.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
And welcome back into Penalty Box Radio Live, presented by Salas Realty Group. Hockey fans, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, get ready for a face-off like no other as the Nashville Spartans USPHL junior team hits the ice at Gary Force Acura Ice Arena in Nolensville. Double dose of hockey action with your home opener this Friday and Fan Fest Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. 2 nights, one unforgettable experience. There will be food trucks, a bounce house, entertainment, and more. Grab your tickets now, NashvilleSpartansHockey.com, and go there to cheer on the Spartans. Nashville Spartans in Nolensville. Okay, Sean.
Yes.
We have on the line with us a mystery caller.
Okay.
And this is someone I know who it is. It's not a mystery to me. And
I don't know.
I think you know who it is too.
You think I do?
I think you do.
I don't know.
So we are going to bring that person on. Who do we have on the line with us right now?
Hey, this is Justin Bradford. How's it going, guys?
Oh, wow.
Justin Bradford, the founder of Penalty Box Radio. How's it going, Justin? How are you?
Guys, I am doing very well. Listening to the first segment, just congratulations to you guys for getting back on the air. This is really exciting for Hockey Talk in Nashville, and I couldn't be prouder and more excited just to see the name living on with you guys.
So, Justin, thank you so much for coming on, because I knew that when we were planning our first show, we wanted it to be, we wanted it to have the feel of kind of a torch kind of handing off, right?
Yeah.
In a sense, like, you ran this show for so long, you and many other people as well. I mean, not you had a lot of people help you along the way. I know you've had a lot of co-hosts and you've had a lot of people come in and out, but it has primarily been yourself that has been running it, and it has just been a staple of the Nashville hockey market for so long. And we knew that going into this, we did not want to ignore that fact, and we wanted to make it clear that what you built and then what we're trying to build, on top of that is kind of a continuous thing. And so thank you again for wanting to for joining us tonight in our first show in the new era.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things that it's just obviously seriously important to have good local hockey talk on there. I mean, when Ben Butzbach and I started it back in 2012, what we saw an area that needed more hockey talk, and there was a 30330 with Jeremy Gover and Cody Holland, and just needed more hockey talk on the radio as this team was continuing to grow and making the playoffs more consistently, of course, and then having their runs to where they finally win a round and everything too. That local hockey talk was very important, and dedicated shows, dedicated blogs, dedicated people talking about the Nashville Predators and hockey around was important to see the sport grow. And we see so many kids playing now, they don't know what it's like to not have the Predators. I know Sean's kid, the enforcer out there that can score some goals, he doesn't know what it's like to not have the Predators, and that's why it's important to have local hockey talk, and you guys are continuing to do that, and it's really exciting to see.
No, you're exactly right, Justin. And I think the biggest thing, you mentioned my child. He doesn't know a Nashville without the Predators. He doesn't know a Nashville without the Predators being a main focus of the sports world in Nashville. So I think, coming into, say, that 2017 run, you had a lot of people that were new to the sport, that they needed somebody local. They needed somebody accessible. And I think you did such a good job of being that person for everybody that, it feels really odd, honestly, for me right now, sitting here on this end of the microphone, talking to you on the other end of the phone line. How did you honestly stay humble when you started getting all of that attention around the time of the Cup run?
Gosh, well, first of all, it was never my full-time job. That definitely helped stay humble because it was a hobby job turned into something just absolutely spectacular. And I think that's what helps so much, is that I love what I do. I loved what I did, what I did for hockey. I loved the ability to be able to travel, was able to get sponsors to help go to other cities, to go to Milwaukee, to go to junior hockey, to go to college, and just to talk to prospects, to talk to potential draft picks and things like that. So I truly enjoyed it, and that's what made it so fun, is that I loved what I did. And having that love and joy for it, of wanting to be able to provide information and provide new things to the fans and provide them information that maybe they couldn't get as easily accessible in other places, was always important to me. And knowing that my day job being a marketer was important to just be personable to people and talk to people and be out in the concourse and talk to people and get what the fans want. What do the fans want to know about? Who do they want to hear from? What are the topics that they want to hear about? And knowing that we cater to show to fans, to educate fans, to help them become even better fans. And that's why we focus so much on prospects, on the Milwaukee Admirals, on things like that, because if we could help make a a Nashville Predators fan, a better overall hockey fan, we knew that they were building something special for life because they just knew so much more than just the Predators. And you're seeing that in the city now. There's people that follow other teams, that follow specific players. Even if they get traded or they sign with another team, they go all over the place just to follow the sport of hockey. And that's what you're seeing so much of right now, too. And it's really exciting to see the growth of this sport just all over the South, not just Nashville, but throughout the South, that you're seeing scouts come to the South now. They're coming to Nashville to watch players. You're going to see NHL players that were born and raised and have a draw playing in the NHL. It's going to happen in the very near future.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that Sean and I wanted to start this new venture, we've both had our own hockey story, right? I mean, I've been writing about the Preds since 2014, Sean since 2017 for various different outlets, but one of the reasons we wanted to take over at Penalty Box Radio was because we felt like this was a transition point in the team. Obviously, the David Poile out, Barry Trott's part of it, the new coach, a lot of younger players coming up, older players either being traded away or leaving in other ways. But I want to take it back to, I feel like it might be similar to when you started it back in 2012. Was there any sense of like transition from that point? I remember 2012 was a big year. Like that was the year Ryan Suter left, the Shea Weber contract. Let's see. There was some. I mean, it's sort of towards the end of the Barry Trotz era. I mean, he had a couple of years left. But was there a sense of like when you started it that there was transition in the team at that point?
Well, you could tell there was a transition because what happened is, you had the lockout. That was the big one. They'd won a playoff series, won a playoff series, and you have the lockout happen. And that was kind of the lockout was really what made Penalty Box Radio what it was, because we're going on 102.5 The Game. We have this great deal with local sports station, and we're going to be on air. And then all of a sudden, there's a lockout, and we're going, we have to do a radio show talking about the Nashville Predators, and the Nashville Predators are not playing. Mm-hmm. That was a huge challenge for us, but Penalty Box Radio wouldn't have been what it was without that challenge that we faced. So it was one of those things, the whole, pull yourself up by the bootstraps and figure out a way to make it happen. So we'd have fun with it, but we'd also focused on high school hockey, on college hockey. We'd go down to Huntsville for their D1 team. We took trips to junior hockey for the OHL. We went to Milwaukee. We did everything we could just to talk about hockey, and we realized, hey, then venture out to just educate people about prospects or the draft that's going to be upcoming or things like that. And there's so many people that actually were interested in those types of things. And then Ben would go to A-Game Sportsplex down in Franklin when it was still a hockey rink and would talk to some of the NHL players that were just practicing there to stay warm. And we'd have a couple of interviews because you didn't have PR to have to work with during a lockout. So we just kind of, we did what we could to do hockey. So that was the turning point for us, but also for the organization too, was taking that momentum from that playoff run and trying to keep people interested about hockey during a lockout instead of just, oh, nope, still not back, go on to the next thing because you have other seasons that are competing. So the turning point of the Preds back then in the early 2010s and also for Penalty Box Radio was definitely that lockout.
Right, yeah. And we are, in that vein, we are very interested in covering everything hockey that we can. We're obviously going to focus primarily on the Nashville Predators. We're lucky in that there is not a lockout happening as soon as we take over. But we're also going to talk about, Sean and I went and covered a game in Milwaukee, and we covered a playoff game with the Admirals and the Coachella Valley Firebirds. It was an awesome experience. It was so cool to see that. I mean, it was seeing Philip Tomasino and Joachim Kimmel and Askarov and Carl Taylor, of course, and like seeing all those guys playing in Milwaukee with Nashville Predators logos stuck onto their jerseys is like, it's a different experience. And I think there was that. Remember several months ago there were people who were bashing on whether anyone should care about the Milwaukee Admirals. I guarantee you the players cared.
Yeah.
The players that we talked to really cared, and I think that's kind of where you came from, Justin. Is focus on the people, the community that cares about the sport, and the players are such a huge part of that. I mean, you when I think of Penalty Box Radio, I think of all the interviews that you had with players that may have been players that weren't at the forefront, but had interesting stories or interesting conversations with you.
And that's what it really was about, was building relationships. And that's how you build trust with the community, is you're having one-on-ones with players that maybe they didn't score the 2 goals in the game, but they had a secondary assist that actually was a key piece. Like they had the outlet pass that led to that thing happening, that led to the break, the 2-on-1 rush.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking at those role players that maybe they're not the stars, but they're an integral part of a team in that middle six, that they still, that those goals wouldn't happen, or that win wouldn't have happened. Or you're talking to an assistant coach and seeing what they're talking about too, or you're talking to a prospect that is just doing everything they possibly can to make the roster. So that's where that relationship building is so important, and that's what we're able to build with players, right? Is you build that relationship with them and that trust, and then the community trusts you as well too, because they know that, hey, I know if I want to hear from a prospect, I'm going to go to this case, and you have a great team of writers as well as focused on this that follow the prospect. So it's not just their live radio show, it's everything for the website too, of making sure that it's a complete place to find hockey coverage that's not just the top level team, it's all throughout, so that, you know, when that player finally makes it after 3 years of playing in the minors and they make their debut, you have a fan that knows everything about that player because they had a resource to be able to find that out.
Yeah, exactly. And I think everything you said is exactly what we're trying to cover over here, and I appreciate you taking the time to join us. I know you got a busy schedule as well. And, you know, by the way, go Ravagers, right?
Go Ravs, go.
Justin and I play on the same rec team. We have for a while, formerly the Mighty Drunks. Now we're the Ravagers. And so I get to see Justin skate around on the ice every week. Lucky me, huh?
And you'll see me Friday night at 11 p.m. too.
That's right, yeah. Late nights for all of us. But, yeah, thank you very much, Justin, for joining us. Penalty Box Radio is in safe hands, and we will take care of the brand that you worked so hard to build over the years.
Thank you so much, guys. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. Go and kill it.
All right. So coming up after the break here in a second, we are going to talk a little bit about rookie camp and about some takeaways that I had from rookie camp and the showcase over the weekend. And specifically, Sean, there was one player that really impressed. Now, the Predators dropped all 3 of their games. That's not great, right?
No, I don't think it matters.
But it doesn't matter.
No.
And we'll talk about why. And we'll talk about this one player that really, really impressed us more than I think anyone really even expected. And I think there's a lot of things to get excited about it, but that's this particular player. So we will talk about that coming up after the break. But once again, Nashville, if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, you must look no further than Salas Realty Group. Salas, not just about property, they're about people. Build long-lasting relationships that are about you, your needs, and your dreams. Salas Realty Group stands for trust, transparency, and community, and they're committed to making a positive impact in Middle Tennessee, one home at a time. If you're ready to make the move, visit salasrealtygroup.com today and experience real estate the Salas way.
If it's important to Nashville,
I'll put it out right now.
It's important to Jared Stillman.
Like, that's it.
He's not afraid to ask the tough questions.
Something is going on, and the question is, what does it mean?
Or give the strong opinion.
And just needed the bozo offensive coordinator to stop ruining the quarterback.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear ContiTech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE. 615-895-HOSE. Back in 1949, Dr. Houston began the tradition of treating athletes for common sports injuries. Today, the sports medicine physicians at Houston Clinic Orthopedics continue his legacy. Whether you play at school, in a league, on a professional team, or just enjoy being active, Houston Clinic Orthopedics physicians are there to help you stay in the game. Common sports injuries include tears, strains, sprains, and instabilities of the knee, shoulder, and ankle. Houston Clinic Orthopedics is located where you work and live. Visit tn.houston.com to book your appointment online. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
If you missed the latest from Robbie and Rex Road,
Joe, what do you make of the idea of, number one, throwing more in this game? First off, Cleveland still has, I think, really good players available in their secondary, and the thing that you take a risk of when you're dropping back and throwing 35 times against the Browns is Myles Garrett's going to get back there a few times, and what does that mean for the game that way? As far as moving Radens out to left tackle, Joe, I don't know that that's necessarily like the worst idea as the season goes on. Like, if Dillard doesn't play well, then maybe you take a look at that if you're the Titans. One thing that I don't think they're going to do is move Radens out to the left tackle and move Dillard inside. Like, I don't see Dillard moving inside for the Titans.
No, I agree. I mean, look, it's a really good sign and impressive performance that Dylan Radens is even able to play at this point.
Robbie and Rexroad, weekdays from 6 to 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Penalty Box Radio live on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's a hard environment because they're all in front of the brass. They want to do well. Guys that have been here, like Igor's been here a couple of years now, and the guys that were with us in Milwaukee have a bit of an advantage just to feel comfortable. But the message is do what you do really well. Why did you make someone bring you here? You want to do those things that make you stand out. Try to execute what we're looking for within the little bit of systems. We've had 2 practices. It's not like we're throwing, expecting to execute all the systems perfectly. We just want to see them try to. So the thing we're going to have extra energy and a little aggression in our play. Make sure we're getting after it and making aggressive mistakes. We don't want to be sitting around watching.
And welcome back to Penalty Box Radio Live, presented by Salas Realty Group. Salas Realty Group, your premier destination for Nashville, Tennessee real estate. So that was Carl Taylor, that you just heard. Carl Taylor, that was him talking before the rookie showcase. So that was last Thursday, prior to them leaving for Estero, Florida. Carl Taylor, of course, leading the rookies this weekend, along with the rest of the Milwaukee Admirals staff, taking the rookies down to Florida for 3 games against Florida, Tampa, and Carolina. Now, the results weren't great. They lost all 3 games.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Meaning nothing at all. The results do not matter in these games at all. What you really want to see is performances. And we'll talk about one particular performance that was great, but I've just got to go back to that quote from Carl Taylor for a second. And I know you are just champing at the bit to talk about Carl Taylor, Sean, because you love some Carl Taylor. I love the quote where he says, show us why someone brought you here.
Yeah, that's
so great.
That's a very Carl Taylor thing to say. And I will preface all of this by saying I am shocked, just utterly shocked that Carl Taylor is the head coach in Milwaukee this year and not somewhere with an NHL team. I know that he was a candidate for the spot with the Predators, and it went to Brunette, but I am shocked that he is still in Milwaukee. The fact that he's there is incredible. I don't know how long he'll be there. But let me say this. I've actually talked to Carl Taylor a lot. There was a lot going on in the comeback from COVID and where you had like the taxi squad and things like that, where you really started to see the importance of what they do in Milwaukee and what Carl Taylor does with those players. And the idea you pointed out, do the thing that you do that made somebody bring you here in the first place. Carl Taylor is focused. He is a head coach in the AHL. I mean, he wants his team to do well. He wants them to win. They went very deep into the playoffs. But he is also acutely aware of the fact that he is there to develop these players into NHL players. And that's the core of what he does, is he always wants them to be the player they are that got the attention on them in the first place. But while they're in Milwaukee, he wants to round out their game to where when they do get an opportunity in the NHL, whether it's you got 1 game, Go up there and give it your all, or whether it's 2 games, 3 games, that you make an impression, not just because you've got a great shot and not just because you've got a big body that you're not afraid to throw around, but because while you've been with him in Milwaukee, you have really honed all of these other skills that make you a well-rounded player. So you earn the chance to stay on the team, come back to the team, or even, I mean, goodness gracious, you'd hate to see a player go, but if they become a valuable, asset for a trade, then they could also bring somebody back that would add to the team. So he knows his role down there is to develop those players. His goal, which I think is interesting, is to coach his players off of his team.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's no better example of that. Well, there's actually several examples of him doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can look at Askarov as a guy that, boy, there's a lot of raw talent and just physical raw talent with that guy, that it would be very easy for a coach to come in and say, you know what, we need to change you into this. We need to change you into a more like polished player. Carl Taylor's not about that. He wants you to do the thing that got you here, to improve upon it and to become better, because he knows that that's what players want to do. And especially a guy like Askarov, who is just who will become the next great thing in terms of goaltending. Now, I don't know what that ceiling is going to be, but I think it's very easy to see a path for him that leads to, being a top goaltender in the NHL.
A statue in front of Bridgestone, Alex?
Maybe so. maybe one right next to a former goaltender.
Oh.
But I also want to talk about one particular player. We have some audio from this player talking after Game 1. This is Joakim Kimmel, who had 2 goals and also a shootout goal in the first game, which I think was against Tampa. Is that right?
I think so.
I think it was against Tampa. So if we could play that audio from Joakim Kimmel, this is him talking about the one-timer that he's kind of become known for, and also kind of what other shots he's working on.
What about that last one that you had towards the end in the final minutes of the game there? You got the pass from Molendyk, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And it was a good pass, and I love to shoot one-timers, so...
That one-timer looks really good. Obviously, you're known for that. That's kind of your signature. You said that's something that you've worked on since you were a kid?
Yeah, for sure, a lot, yeah. That's what I said, I used to shoot a lot one-timers and wrist shot, and it's always fun just to rip the puck, so.
Are there any other types of shots or other areas of your game that you're working on developing while you're here?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot where I'm trying to getting better. Like example, how can I shoot between the legs, if the D-man's trying to get the puck away for you, and quick shots and that type.
I love that his English is coming together. I mean, he's always been pretty solid in terms of giving the interviews. He was a little. At last Thursday, he was a little hesitant because we were in this really strange environment. We were outside. But one thing I wanted to talk about with him, the one-timer is just crazy good. It's strong and fast, and he gets it off quickly, and it is very accurate. And I just think there is a lot of excitement behind that one shot. But I think he's also working. So the reason I want to play that clip is he's talking about also working on other things, getting the puck off in tight spaces, getting the shot between legs of defenders, because he's going to have defenders in front of him. That is a huge part. I mean, how many times last year were guys shielded by defensemen and couldn't get the shot off, on net, or getting blocked all the time? That is a huge skill set that needs to be developed in every player. And I like that he's working on that, and I think that's pretty exciting.
Well, I'm I'm hesitant to bring this name up because you've forgotten who it was.
I already know who you're going to talk about.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me.
It's the guy you talked about earlier in the show.
What's his name? Say his name.
Eeli Tolvanen.
Eeli Tolvanen. You know, there've been a lot of Eeli Tolvanen.
Say his name.
Say his name. There've been a lot of Eeli Tolvanen comparisons out there with Joakim Kimmel, and I'll tell you, having the opportunity to see him play in person during that playoff game against the Coachella Valley Firebirds, you know, there's a little bit of truth to that comparison in the sense that he's got a nasty shot. But I'm going to say this, he seems to do a lot better in tight spaces.
Oh, man.
And he can make things happen faster than Tolvanen could. And if you really wanted to, I go back to when Tolvanen, as we spoke with Carl Taylor, was able to come up to the NHL level. We were told that it wasn't his shot that kept him there. It was his ability to play defensively.
Mm-hmm.
You could have made that criticism that he didn't do as well in tight spaces. Kimmel's already there, and the fact that he isn't satisfied with where he is and he wants to continue getting better says a lot to me about where he's going and where his head is. And I think we can expect some big things.
Yeah, that is the biggest thing with him, that it just stands out. I mean, it's not just about the one-timer. And let me talk about another player that has come up with regards to Joachim Kimmel, and that would be Alexander Ovechkin, who's about to break Wayne Gretzky's goal-scoring record in a couple years. He obviously Kimmel takes that shot from the Ovi spot a lot. But here's the thing with the Ovi spot. It's always been about the speed of getting the shot off. It's not about the strength or the accuracy, which it's crazy good. I mean, 100 out of 100 on speed and accuracy for that guy. But it's about the time he takes to get the shot off. It's like nothing. It's as soon as the puck's in his area, it's gone. I think that is where Kimmel could potentially set himself apart from a guy like Tolvanen, because Tolvanen did not have that. He didn't have the speed of getting the shot off. He couldn't get it off in tight spaces. He had to have it teed up in a certain way. Kimmel seems to be a little bit more like, if the puck's even near me, I'm going to be able to get the shot off.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
He seems to be able to make the puck do what he wants it to do, regardless of how it's served up to him. It is not a dish that needs to be served with a certain sauce. He's going to make it taste good regardless. If that makes any sense.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, I mean, the sauce is important for any meal, and but for him, it doesn't even matter. It could be a ketchup packet you found underneath the dining room table. He's going to turn it into a goal.
He's going to turn it into a goal.
We will talk more about Kimmel, and there's a lot to think about when it comes to training camp, which we will try to preview here in a little bit. But other rookies that kind of stood out a little bit. Evangelista did a couple good things. Stastny, I think, is solid. Adam Wilsby looked good to me at the showcase. I think his ability on the defensive end. He's going to be in Milwaukee this year, but I think he's a solid player there. Some players who did not impress me as much, Afanasyev still continues to kind of be stagnant in his development. A lot of people liked Svechkov. I like Svechkov so far. I just haven't seen enough of him. I need to see him in training camp this week to see what he looks like against the big boys.
Yeah.
I think he's got some potential. I think he's definitely I think there's room to grow there for him. So we'll see where Svechkov goes over the next little bit here. But so we're going to go ahead and after the break, we are going to talk about the full training camp, which begins tomorrow. We're going to try to answer this question. The most competitive and intriguing camp battle will be what? The most competitive and intriguing camp battle will be what? We're going to answer that question, and we're also going to conclude the show with a regular feature that we will debut tonight, and we'll have at every show. We'll talk more about what that's going to be, but every show we will end the show the same way with a really fun game that we're going to introduce at the end of the show. So after the break, we'll fill in the blank. Most competitive and intriguing camp battle will be what? This is Penalty Box Radio Live, presented by Salas Realty Group.
All the big plays.
And we are done. Vandy 24-21.
All the big stories.
I'm sure Vandy will be a much better team if Clark Lee is the coach.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
What a stop by UC Sarah.
Then he wouldn't end up on my team.
Driving his way to victory lane.
I think that's the right strategy.
The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
It's important.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event this weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Verragio, the world's premier designers, are showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the GI with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Come join us and take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. This Friday through Sunday, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Are you in the mood for authentic Chicago-style Italian food? Italian beef sandwiches, Vienna Chicago-style hot dogs? How about homemade pasta, chili, meatballs and marinara sauce, and more? Well, you need to check out this week's Nashville's Best Deal, Campione's, at 401 Long Hollow Pike, Goodlettsville, Tennessee. Family-owned and featured on Tennessee Crossroads, this is delicious Italian-style food right here in Tennessee. Check them out now at thegamenashville.com/deals. Get half off now while supplies last.
Exergen thermometers are proven to be more accurate than non-contact thermometers. With children back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Clinical studies have proven that non-contact thermometers are inaccurate and can miss fevers. Accuracy matters. That's why the Exergen thermometer is trusted and used by medical professionals. Exergen thermometers are available at Walgreens and other participating retailers. Choose a trusted and accurate thermometer for personal use. Learn more about why accuracy matters at Exergen.com.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
If you are 65 or older, you know this. Watching your hard-earned dollars fly out the window on healthcare costs is so frustrating. But here's some great news. If you were just notified that your Medicare costs are increasing, a program out there can really help you with your medical bills, and it's worth taking a minute to look into. Medishare 65 Plus. It's not insurance. Members actually say it's better. It's a Christian healthcare community that aligns with your faith and where people encourage and pray for you. And Medishare 65 Plus is a low-cost option for those with Medicare Parts A and B, and it fills in the gaps where Medicare stops. You choose any Medicare provider, and you get telehealth access anytime you need it. And this is great too. Unlike health insurance, you can lock in one low monthly price for up to 10 years. So don't get stuck with increasing costs. Call Medishare 65 Plus and find out how much you can save. Call 888-SHARE-89. That's 888-SHARE-89. 888-SHARE-89.
Hey Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
Welcome back to Penalty Box Radio Live, presented by Salas Realty Group. Salas Realty Group, your premier destination for Nashville, Tennessee real estate. Also, Truvo Sports Laundry, Nashville's only mobile sports laundry service that uses ozone technology to clean the smelliest, dirtiest sports gear you can imagine, like hockey and football pads. Their O3 process kills 98% of bacteria and 100% of viruses. So if you've got a pile of nasty, filthy sports gear, either because, you play rec league or you can't be bothered to clean your kids' stuff, like Sean knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Go to TruvoSports.com, sign up for a cleaning today. They will come to your house and everything. They're mobile. They will drive to your house, clean your stuff. Nashville's only mobile sports laundry service, Truvo Sports Laundry. Okay, before the break, we talked about the most competitive and most intriguing camp battle will be blank. I have my answer. Would you like for me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. I think it's who is going to be Roman Yossi's defensive partner. I am very curious about this. It's a competitive position because there's a lot of really good players at the top of it, but also, I honestly have no idea where they're going to go with this. They indicated that it was going to be Luke Shen when they brought him over, right? They kind of suggested, oh, well, it's Roman Yossi taking hits or whatever, so it's going to be Luke Shen. But Brian McDonough was his partner for so long. But then there's also Tyson Berry. What about Alex Carrier? What about Dante Fabro? I mean, there's so many options here because they have so many right-handed defensemen. Roman Yossi's obviously the top guy. Who is going to be that defenseman with him? That's mine.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good battle. For the sake of not being repetitive, I'll tell you another battle I think is going to be pretty intense. So I'll say this. There's a ton of defenders on this team that can make their case, but there are also quite a few forwards that there's going to be questions about where they go. I'm looking at the list. I'm not going to name them all. I think there's about 9 guys that are kind of locks for the NHL roster. But then I've got this smaller group of guys, and I'm curious who's going to fill that roster out. They are Kimmel, Sherwood, Afanasyev, and Gurionov. And I want to see who amongst those players ends up on the roster when the season actually starts. And I guess camp's going to go a long way to tell us who that is, but that's the battle I want to see.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's a big one. So, bunch of big camp battles to really assess. All of it gets underway tomorrow. First full day of training camp for the Nashville Predators at Fordyce Center, Bellevue. Okay, Sean.
Okay.
We are going to conclude every show with something called the 3-on-3 draft. So here's how this works. Every week we're going to have a topic, and we are each going to draft something. It could be things, it could be places, it could be people, it could be all kinds of stuff. Nouns, I guess. You know,
Ooh,
that's how you say
nouns.
that. Today we're going to draft convenience store dinners. So let's say you're on a long road trip. The only dinner option is a gas station, a convenience store, or something like that. You have to draft your dinner. One of us is going to go first. Once it's draft, just like the regular draft, once you pick something, I can't take it. So I'm going to be nice. I'm going to let you go first tonight.
Well,
what is your what?
We agreed that we didn't have to draft a beverage, right? We
do not have to
name
that's
our
great.
beverage.
You do not have to draft a beverage. You're just drafting your dinner. So whatever your dinner is at the end of the draft is that's what you got. Your 3 items. So what is your first overall selection for your convenience store dinner?
I'm going to go with my main course, and we are going with a gas station hot dog.
Okay.
Loaded with onions, mustard, and jalapenos.
I knew you were going with the gas station hot dog. I just had a feeling. I just knew it. I knew that's where you're going. Okay, my first overall pick. A big old bag of beef jerky.
Ooh.
Teriyaki flavored. If not, maybe the spicy if I'm feeling it, but probably just teriyaki flavored beef jerky. Not just a single slice. I'm talking a big old bag. So that's my first pick. What's your second pick?
Second pick, we're going to go with maybe not a big old bag, but maybe a big grab bag of spicy sweet chili Doritos. That's the purple bag, Alex.
The purple bag of Doritos. Spicy sweet chili. I can't do the hot Dorito stuff. I'm a classic orange bag. Or
Look,
red bag, sorry.
Look, I'm going to be really honest with you. We're talking about gas station dinners. We're getting onions. We're getting jalapenos, spicy sweet chili Doritos.
gosh.
It's going to be a ride,
Crazy.
man.
My second pick is pepperoni pizza combos. So I'm getting beef jerky. I'm getting pepperoni pizza combos. That's my
Okay.
second pick. I'm going pretty easy. I'm going cheap, too, by the way.
Well, I think mine's pretty cheap, too. You can usually get a 2-for-1 on hot dogs, so. Okay. I thought about combos.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about combos a lot, but I thought about them for this, and I decided to pass because I thought there were better things to pick. So
Go ahead, yeah.
Oh,
Your
okay.
third pick. Go
Final
ahead.
pick. Look, I didn't know, did I go with like a side dish? Did I go with a dessert? So I went with something that can be an appetizer, a side dish, and a dessert all in one. Sunflower seeds.
Whoa. Off the board with your third pick.
Yeah.
I feel like you could have left that undrafted and just picked that up at the end. I was never going sunflower seeds on this thing. Wow. That's stunning to me.
Every team likes what they like.
I'm going with just some regular hot peanuts. Hot peanuts for me. I think and you know what I'm getting? I'm getting protein. Protein is what I need, except for the pepperoni pizza combos. But beef jerky and hot peanuts.
Well, pepperoni's got protein in it.
I don't think the pepperoni pizzas combos have any protein anywhere inside that package.
That's a shame.
That's just me. All right. So my pick of the gas station dinner, the beef jerky, the pepperoni pizza combos, the hot peanuts, and you had?
I had gas station hot dog with onions, jalapenos, and mustard, spicy sweet chili Doritos in the purple big grab bag, and sunflower seeds.
And then you have a long date with the bathroom later that evening.
You picked a lot of hot stuff too there, brother. I don't know. All right, what about drinks?
Well, we did talk. Well, I mean, drinks are another.
Yeah, you're
yeah.
right.
Well, maybe we'll save that one. That's
Okay.
a good one to
Okay,
start.
okay.
So that is the debut of the 3-on-3 draft. We'll do that every week. It'll obviously be very different every time. But hey, first show is down. I feel good about it. How do you feel?
Feel good. I'm excited.
Thank you for listening to Penalty Box Radio Live, presented by Salis Salas Realty Group. Salas Realty Group, your premier destination for Nashville, Tennessee real estate. And also, thank you to the Nashville Spartans, Nashville's one and only junior hockey team. Their first home game is this Friday. Go out and take a look at the new at the Nashville Spartans down there in Nolensville. They have a home game Friday and Saturday, so go check it out. And no show next week because the Predators play.
Yeah.
So we'll see everyone in 2 weeks. See everybody later. Thank you.
Good night, Alex.
Sometimes it's good to be loud.
This is the NFL.
Especially when you're Jared